Hello, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural Astrho Live Partner Showcase. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Heidi Hendrickson. I am one of the co-founders and head of business development at Astrho, the Association for Short-Term Rental Homeowners. And I'm here today with the rest of the Astrho team, along with roughly 20 of the industry's leading companies and experts. They're here to showcase their products and services for short-term rental homeowners. Whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, an investor, or if you're more working with a property manager, we hope to bring you a lot of great information about how to maximize revenue and how to be a more efficient short-term rental homeowner. So quick background on Astrho. We started last year in 2020 as a not-for-profit global association. Our goal is to pool education, resources, and a true membership community on our online simple-to-use platform. We have a couple different types of membership, from free to a paid tier, access to all of our educational courses, member perks and discounts, that sort of good stuff. So we're happy you're here. Please feel free to chime in, interact a little bit with our chat bar on the side, ask questions, and get as much information as you can. And with that, I'll turn things over to one of our other co-founders and board president, Heather Richard, to talk about the industry for just a few minutes.
Thanks, Heidi. Yeah, before we jump into these amazing keynote speakers, I just want to say a few things, kind of take us high level, talk about the industry. So you're here, and what an exciting time to be part of the short-term rental industry. I mean, it has been a wild ride. And so we're just excited to be able to pull off this virtual conference. And I just wanted to kind of remind ourselves, set the tone with a few stats. So Vrbo puts together a trend report, and something that really jumped out at me is that there's some new traveler trends, right? We have an opportunity to attract travelers that have never stayed in short-term rental accommodations before. And one of the stats noted from Vrbo is that flexcations will continue. Of all the folks that did a work leisure trip, 70% will do it again. Have the flexibility to work from home and want that residential stay, and will be taking more flexcations. Good news for us, more stays and longer stays. Another great report, AirDNA industry report, just came out a few weeks ago. A really interesting stat there is 67% more listing nights were sold in 21 versus 19 in small cities and rural markets. So for those of you that have that home, that second home in those kind of more rural vacation, the demand is there. The demand's going to continue. And again, because of the digital nomad trend, people can work from everywhere. So our mission at Astrho is to help you be educated, be professional, help you make these emotional connections with guests, great experiences, and create memories. And so with that, we are going to kick it off with a really great topic. So Chris helped us put this together. It's really how to create lifelong memories in a short-term world. And Chris has got an awesome background. I'm going to let him talk about it in a minute. He was on the advisory board for Zillow, so has this really unique real estate perspective that is so great. And also he's just a lot of fun and entertaining. Just, not to set the bar too high, Chris, but we know you're gonna have some fun with us today. And then following Chris up, we have Damian from the Book Direct Show. So to really bring it home with what this means to own the customer, having your own website, and you can see his brand placement on his shirt there, the Book Direct Show. Damian, thank you. Okay. And then we'll hear more about Damian's full bio when we kick it over to him. But with that, Chris, we're going to give you the full stage, turn Perfect. Our cameras off, and take it away.
Sounds great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. And we will get going. All right. I'm assuming everybody can see me there. So I am really excited to be here. This has been a great working environment with Heidi and Heather to work with Astrho. I myself am not a short-term rental owner. I have a long-term rental and a permanent residence. However, both of them are extremely close to the new PGA headquarters here in Dallas, Texas. So who knows, maybe I'll make them into short-term rentals and and do fairly well with that. But I do have a little timer. I'm going to go ahead and get myself started because I can talk literally forever, but I have 30 minutes here. I have a really great message that I want to share with you, and it is how to create lifelong memories in a short-term world. So let's get started. If we were in person, the first thing I would tell you to do is look over to the person to your right, look over to the person to your left, and just tell them how glad you are that they're here. And I am a huge believer in gratitude and having an attitude of gratitude, because there are few things in life we ever truly have control over, but our attitude is one of those. And if we can just have an attitude of gratitude and let people around us know how much we appreciate them, life is just so much better. And I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate you being here. This is going to be a really fun 30 minutes, and your whole next few days here is just great. So thank you again. With that, let's get started. So this is my resume. And I don't show it to you because I'm looking for a job, although if you have a really phenomenal job offer for me, you can call me. But I give you this because I want you to see something in what regards to a 17-year, almost 18-year career in new home construction looks like. And I've been on some really great teams. I've led some really great teams, and I've had a lot of opportunity to do some really great things. But the thing that is probably the coolest for me here recently is that I have been on the Zillow Builder Advisory Board, and I have been part of a tech company in Park City, Utah called Atlas RTX. And it is completely leading the way in chatbots in a lot of different avenues. So what I do as a side hustle, so to speak, does prepare me to speak a lot to audiences like yourself. And I do speak a lot. I started speaking publicly in 2018. I average at least one a week. I actually have one this afternoon with the National Association of Home Builders, which is probably going to make me a little nervous because we do have the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal that are going to be on that call. So I'm hoping I don't flub up anything too much. But regardless of what my resume has on it, because really, let's be real, it's not relevant to this. What I want you to remember about me is the stories I'm going to tell you and the message I'm going to share. So with that, let's get started with the message. Now, I'm a dad, and you guys saw Damian. He had this really cool shirt on that had his logo. My little girls this morning picked out my shirt. Well, the initial shirt had flamingos on it, and I didn't really think it was probably too appropriate. My little one on the far right, her name is Jensen, and she's almost 3 years of age, and she is hilarious. For some weird reason, she is obsessed with flamingos lately, and to her, they're called mingos. Now, the taller one here, that's Harper, and Harper is the first true love of my life. She is almost 6 years of age. She is just an incredible little girl. She is such a great sister. And yes, I'm wearing a leprechaun costume. Now, you're probably not going to believe this, but I was totally the shy kid growing up. It took me all the way through to my sophomore year in college when I started bartending, so maybe that had something to do with it, before I really started opening up as to who I was. And when I started in the industry, I started, okay, well, how am I going to separate myself? How am I going to be a different leader? And one of those weird things is I have an odd sense of humor. Now, Heidi told me to keep this completely PG-13, so I'm going to follow her, but have a good sense of humor where I want people to just have fun. That's what life is about, is having fun. And so I have way more costumes than any 40-year-old man should probably ever own. That's probably a weird statement to make, but I have a lot of costumes and I love to dress up. So leprechaun, bunny, unicorn, you name it. I have a lot of them. Some of them are a little strange, but we have a good time. Now, I think I most relate to Phil Dunphy here. And I put this picture of Phil Dunphy on here because when this show first started coming out, he would just always make me laugh. Now, yes, he's in real estate. I'm in real estate, but he was always just the cool dad, right? Or at least he tried to be the cool dad. And he would say, you know, I text, I laugh out loud, all those things. And I think probably for the first time, probably ever, last week, my little girl Harper, the oldest one, completely broke dad's heart because she told me that one of my jokes was not funny. And I have to tell you, when your kiddos tell you your joke's not funny, it kind of hits. Luckily, the little one, Jensen, she still thinks dad is like the funniest thing in the world. So absolutely love and adore her, and just very, very blessed to have them. But these two little girls, and if you have children, you know this, have completely changed my life. And let me tell you a little bit of a story about how that happened. So my oldest, Harper, was born in 2015. And although you can't see all of me, you can get a pretty good understanding of who I am. I was about 60 pounds heavier in 2015 when Harper was born than what I am today. And the job that I have, it is not hard. It is not hard. I get paid very well for what I do, but it is stressful. And the stress really started taking a toll on me, and hence the 60 pounds more than I was. And I was putting her to bed one night, walking down the stairs, and I told my wife, you know, I need to lose some weight. I'm just really struggling. I don't think I'm going to be around for her whole life if I don't do something. Now, my dad had a heart attack at the age of 42. He still is alive, which is great. But he had a very stressful job as well. And so I knew that this was a pattern that was going to happen to me. And so I told her right then and there, I'm going to run a half marathon a month in 2016. And then I'm going to run a full marathon in December 2016. And she did exactly what I wanted her to do, which was just laugh hysterically. She was like, you've got to be kidding me. She's like, you know, people train for those, right? It's December 2015. You just can't get up and decide that you're going to run a half marathon a month. Now, I played soccer in college. I played soccer all growing up. I used to be an athlete. What I had ballooned to was very non-traditional for me as somebody who was growing up. And I said, I got this. How hard can it be to run 13.1 miles? Can't be that hard, right? So January comes around. Let me back up. That night I signed up for 11 of them, did not sign up for the full. January comes around and I go to run my first half marathon. Now it was in Fort Worth, and I don't know if we have anybody in Texas on here or not, but it was in Fort Worth. I live in a town called Prosper. So it's about an hour and 15, hour and a half away. And I went down there for this half marathon. I was feeling good about myself. I was like, I got this. There's small people, big people, old people, young people, not a big deal. I'm an athlete, right? I totally got this. Well, I definitely did not have it. That half marathon took me 4 hours to finish. I threw up twice. I cried at the end. It was sincerely probably one of the worst experiences of my life, but I finished. Now, the difficult part was driving home the hour and a half to get there when my legs didn't work, but I made it happen. Long story short, fast forward to today, I've ran more marathons and more half marathons than I know. And I believe that if you're going to do anything in life, you need to do it for a cause. And I've had 8 family members pass away of cancer. And so I actually run for a team called Team Determination, the American Cancer Society. And so this is something I'm extremely passionate about. And it's something that over time, yes, it gets exhausting. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not, but it's something that I know has a greater purpose. And that's to be around for when my little girls get married, because I want to see that. I want to be part of that memory. Now let's fast forward. Okay, so that was 2015, 2016. I was 35. Today I'm 40. I'll be 41 in September. And I made this stupid statement on LinkedIn that said, I'm going to do an Ironman in 2020. Well, as you all know, the pandemic happened. All the Ironmans were canceled. Almost all the races were canceled. Whew, I got away with that one, right? Well, for some dumb reason, I decided to make the statement and say that I'm going to do it in 2021. And so I'm doing an Ironman November 21st, 2021 in Tempe, Arizona. And an Ironman, for those of you that don't know, is 2.4 miles of swimming, 112 miles of biking, and 26.2 miles of running, all in the same day. I really have no clue why people do this. I really don't. 1 in 20,000 people actually do it. It's because the other 19,999 are smarter than that one person that does it. But again, because I made the statement that if I'm going to do anything in life, I'm going to do it for a cause, I'm actually doing it for the National Angels, which is a foster care organization that a good friend of mine helped start back in 2008, 2009, that is now national and called the National Angels since 2016. And I'm going to be raising $10,000 to help children who are needing to be adopted. And that's my purpose. Now, if running the Ironman and competing the Ironman was just for me, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't finish. I would have already bowed out. But when I got up at 4:45 this morning to go swimming at 5:15, when I get on my bike this afternoon for 2 hours, and trust me, sitting on a bike for 2 hours, not fun. And by the way, 112 miles on a bike is probably 6 hours, also not fun, but it's for a greater purpose. And the purpose is that it's going to be a lifelong memory for me and for my girls, that when I close my eyes, I can honestly envision them being there when I cross the finish line, which is just something that means a lot to me. Now, I want to tell you an interesting story about training for this Ironman, because it's not just about training for this. I am actually a Guinness World Record holder. So this is not on my resume. This is fairly new. It actually happened 6 weeks ago. Well, it's not really a record holder yet. I'm a future record holder. Now, let me explain. I am the first person in history to wreck and crash a bike indoors. Yeah, I said it, indoors. How in the hell do you crash a bike indoors? Well, let me show you, okay? Because this is important, because it's not as far-fetched as what you think. Although the people at the bike shop tended to think I was a little bit of an idiot, okay? So this is my setup inside of my house. So if you look at the picture on the right, this is my new bike, because let's be real, the bike on the left is my old bike. And I'm set up to what is called a Wahoo Fitness. A Wahoo Fitness is an indoor trainer that basically you would take off the back wheel, you attach it to, and you ride your bike. Now you ride and you ride and you ride, and it gets pretty hot in your room, and you're going down on your forearms, and you're just getting into the motion that you need to be for the race day. Well, I was finishing up a 2-hour ride, and I felt my bike get a little wiggly, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? And I turned around, looked to my left, and I saw that the little lever that latches the bike was up. And I said, oh crap. I knew I had a very short amount of time to stop pedaling because I'm clipped into my wheel. So I'm stuck to the bike, right? I turn around and that bike was so far gone that I literally go whoosh, right on my side. Yep, I crashed a bike indoor. Thank goodness nobody saw, because that would have just been humiliating in itself. But this is a carbon frame bike, and I snapped the clip where the wheel goes on. Now you would think this is a pretty big bike, right? Like you could probably fix that. Well, for those of you that know, you can't fix a carbon frame bike. So it was a $3,000 bike, by the way. I am not loaded by any means. This is something that I'm doing it for a greater cause. I'm going to spend the money to do it. I'm going to do it because I want to be healthy and see my little girls get married. And I just broke a $3,000 bike 6 weeks after having it. So I was like, I got to fix this. I got to go to the bike shop. I got to see what in the world I can do to make this right. And so I went there, and the guys there laughed at me, and they basically called me an idiot. And they said, well, there's probably nothing we can do because it's not the bike's fault. You didn't attach the screw strong enough. And I said, well, I get that, but can we just contact Argon 18 and see what they can do? And they said, sure, not a problem. Well, I'm very blessed because the people at Argon 18, although I am an idiot, they felt sympathy for me. And they said, you know what? We love your story. We love that you are doing this for an organization that is raising money for children. Although this isn't our fault, we are going to give you the bike, not give me the bike, sell you the bike at cost. We will literally make no profit on this just so you can get back out there and train. And so the bike that you see on the right is the first of its kind in the United States, because Argon 18 is a company out of Calgary, Canada. So I was very blessed to get these people to believe in me enough to give me a new bike at cost. Now, great story, right? I got another story for you. Reading is one of my favorite things to do to my little girls. I am obsessed with reading to these little munchkins. We read books all the time, 5, 6, 7 books a night. And my little girl Harper, at the age of 2, she can literally recite the books. I thought she was a mad genius. I thought at 2 she could read. Just turns out that kids have really great memories, and she just memorized the books. So like my Iron Man, I put out there on LinkedIn that I was going to write a book. And you know what? It was one of those things that I said, dang it, I probably shouldn't have done that, because what in the heck am I going to write a book about? Now, I knew that I wanted to write a children's book, but I didn't really know what that children's book was going to be about. And I'm not going to share with you what the book is about because it is in process and there's a lot of really great things happening with it. It should come out in February, but I legit want you guys to be the first people to see what the illustration looks like for my children's book. And here it is. So I am the dad. I'm the cool dad. I'm the Phil Dunphy of the bear world, right? Now, the one on the left looking at this is Harper Hare. So my little girl Harper had always had the nickname Harper Hare. My little girl Jensen had always been Jensen Bear. I have no idea why. I really have no clue where these came from. But I was like, you know what? Harper Hare, Jensen Bear, this is going to make a great children's book. And so as a dad, because I'm neither a bear or a hare, I'm going to be a mixture. So you can see here that my character here, the bear, has longer ears like a hare. It's got a bunny's tail and it's got bunny feet. And this story is going to be amazing. And it's actually a series of short stories. And I've actually collaborated with some really awesome people across the country. And this book is actually going to be a series of books. It's going to come out in February. Now, 10% of every book sold is actually going to go back to the National Angels, because their tagline is that every child deserves a parent. So it makes perfect sense. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this is not because it has anything to do with short-term rentals, right? It literally does not have anything to do with short-term rentals. But what it has to do is about lifelong memories. every story that I have told you is a memory that I hold strong in my heart. My little girls hold it strong. The people at the National Angels are going to hold it strong. Everything that I've told you is a memory, not just for myself, but for others. And that's really what life is all about, is just creating memories, having experiences. So let me make this a little bit more relevant to what you guys do, which is really making memories. So if I was in the audience, I'd ask you to raise your hand here and ask you if anybody knows who this amazing gentleman is. Some people may, some people may not. Now, this guy here, his name is Jesse Itzler, and I am a huge fan of Jesse Itzler. I'm actually getting the opportunity to speak on stage with him in October. No idea how that happened, but I'm beyond excited because I have been following this guy forever. And for those of you that do not know who he is, let me tell you. Jesse Itzler was at one time a rapper. He managed Run DMC. He owns part of the Atlanta Hawks basketball team. He started Marquis Jet, which sold to Warren Buffett for $5 billion. He owned a coconut water company with Matt Damon. And for some people, he's known as Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx's husband. Now, Jesse is an incredible human. He really is. And he does all sorts of things for all sorts of people. But he is all about creating memories that last and recognizing those memories. And Jesse put a post out there on LinkedIn that just completely blew me away one day. And it was this. He said, I am of the age, and my parents are of the age, where I probably realistically only have 5 more years left with them. And he said, I can't look at this as the fact that I have 5 years left with my parents. I have to look at this in the fact that I generally see my parents 4 times a year. So if I see them 4 times a year and I have 5 years left with them, I have 20 more chances in life to see and make memories with my family. Now, think about how powerful of a statement that is, because all of us wake up every day feeling grateful to be alive, but we almost take it for granted. We take the relationships that we have for granted, the friends, the family, the loved one for granted. But if you were to actually put that into a context where you recognize that you don't have all that much time with somebody, you start to appreciate that opportunity for that memory so much more. And so I wanted to show you this picture here. This is my dad on the left. And my dad, he's an incredible man. He grew up with 6 brothers and sisters in a 2-bedroom house. And he went on to spend 42 years with the railroad. He is a phenomenal public speaker himself. And he retired extremely well. He did very well for himself. And you get to an age as a child of a parent, and you want to give back to your parents for everything that they did for you. And so I kept asking my mom and I kept asking my dad, what can I get you for a gift? You know, I have a really good job. Let me buy you something. And my dad was like, we don't want gifts. We just want your time. And I was like, my time? Like, you have my time all the time. And he's like, no. Like, I really want your time. Like, when I'm with you, you are constantly on your phone. You are constantly distracted. I just want your time, no phone, no distractions, time with my son. I still thought that was odd because at the time I didn't have children. Now that I have little girls, I get that. So as you can see here, more pictures. That's one of the best parts about being a public speaker, by the way, is I could force you to look at pictures of my amazing kiddos. And we have the best time. And when I'm with them, I have to pay very much attention to the fact that I do not want my phone to be associated with me being dad. Because at the age of 3, Harper, my oldest one, walked up to me when my phone was sitting on the kitchen table and she handed it to me. She said, Daddy, here's your phone. And that was a life-changing moment for me and a life-changing memory for me because my daughter associated dad with a phone. I didn't want that. Dad should be associated with fun, crazy shirts, flamingo shirts, crazy costumes. Take me to get snow cones. Let's have a chocolate bar on the way to school and not tell mom. That's what dad is, right? Dad should not be associated with the phone. Now, I want to tell you about another friend of mine, and this guy is just absolutely incredible. This is Lonnie Maine, and Lonnie Maine has written a book called Red Shoe Living, and I highly encourage you to go take a look at that book and to study this book. Red Shoe Living is a concept of just standing out for the positive. And Lonnie, he works with the NFL, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Tesla, Apple, Nike, you name it. This guy works with all these companies. And I had the unique opportunity to get to know Lonnie in a very personal way about a year and a half ago, and was just blown away by his message. He has two things that I wanted to share with you today that is 100% relevant to what you guys do. And the first one here is you got to put yourself out there. So what if you treated every interaction as a chance to stand out like a pair of red shoes? Get out of your comfort zone, take action on your dreams. Go that extra mile to delight a customer. Be better today than you were yesterday. And in the end, you have to put yourself out there and do. You got to get a pair of red shoes, right? Put yourself out there. That's what you guys did. I don't know what the reasoning is behind you owning a short-term rental, but more than likely, for a few of you at least, it's to make your family's life better. It's to, one, give yourself a vacation home. It's two, to give yourself family wealth that's going to be passed on to generation to generation. And the one that I absolutely love, and I talked about it earlier, is gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Make sure your customers understand that they are truly and sincerely grateful for the business. Those that feel valued, respected, and appreciated will always be loyal to your business and spread the word to others. Do the people that rent your short-term rentals know how grateful you are that they picked you? Do they know? I challenge you to ask that question. Now, this is Lonnie, and I brought Lonnie into my team. This was taken a couple of weeks ago. And I actually am such a fan of red shoe living that I have multiple pairs of different red shoes. I love wearing my red shoes. My entire team got red shoes, and he does it right. And I encourage you to buy the book. I encourage you to stand out like a pair of red shoes. And when Lonnie left, we made a statement to each other. We said that we're no longer in the home building business, but we're in the experience business. I don't think you guys are in the short-term rental business. You're not. You are in the experience business. You give people the experience of a vacation, of an escape. We need to really pay attention to that. So I want to tell you guys a story. I'm full of stories, right? I could literally talk for hours and hours and hours. So this is a story about my first engagement. I've had multiple engagements. We're not going to go there. This is not what this is about. And all those rest of those stories are told much better over a drink. But I'm going to tell you the story of my first engagement. I had proposed, well, obviously going to propose in this story, to a young gal that's nickname was Aspen. And she, as weird as it was, had never been to Aspen. She just had a sweatshirt that said Aspen on it, and she somehow got attached with the nickname Aspen. Well, I had known that if I was ever going to propose to this young lady, and granted, this was a long time ago, almost 11 years ago, that I was going to do it in Aspen, Colorado. So I had lived in Phoenix, Arizona at the time with her. And we had made this trip. Her birthday was in April, and I was going to do it over her birthday. We had made this trip into Aspen. So we flew into Denver, got a small plane, and we flew into Aspen. Now, for those of you that know or don't know, I'm sure you do know, Aspen is not a cheap place to vacation. And this is the St. Regis. St. Regis is not a cheap place to stay. Luckily, it was off season, so my rate was not that bad as what it would have been if it was in season. But if you look at this photo, and this is a very famous photo of the St. Regis, the very top room on the corner was the room that I had rented out. I wanted to make this an extremely memorable, a lifelong memory for both her and I. Okay, so I had called, I had set this all up. We were then going to drive to Denver, Colorado, which I lived in before. We were going to go meet friends and family for a big celebration party afterwards, and it was going to be great. And so I had set everything up that I needed to set up for this trip. And I was doing some things on the cheap. And one of those things that I was doing on the cheap was my rental car. And so I was spending a fortune on this hotel. I was spending a fortune on everything else. The ring alone, way too expensive. Not to mention the marriage only lasted 6 months, 4 days, but again, a whole nother story. So I get to the airport in Aspen and we land. And I go up to the rental car counter and I said, "My name's Chris Hartley, I have a reservation." And they said, "Yes, sir. You have the black Escalade." No, I do not have the black Escalade. I did not pay for the black Escalade. And they're like, "No, sir, we have you down here as the black Escalade." Luckily, my future fiance was nowhere near, and I leaned forward and I said, I did not pick that expensive of a car. And they said, "Sir, you're staying at the St. Regis, correct?" And I said, "Yes." "Well, the St. Regis has arranged for you to have a black Escalade. They're aware of why you are here, and they wanted to do this for you." What? I mean, I'm like, wait a second. So what's my rate? Do I have to pay the higher rate? And they're like, "No, we're going to keep you at that rate and the St. Regis is going to pick up the difference. And I said, well, just so you know, like I am driving from Aspen to Denver, right? Like I'm not going to have this, I'm not going to be returning the car here. They said, it's all been taken care of. Now, how awesome of an experience is that? So I show up at the St. Regis. She feels fancy. I feel fancy. I never drove an Escalade before. I had a Toyota 4Runner at the time. We get out. We're doing our thing. We get up to the room. There's champagne. There's flowers. There's chocolate covered strawberries. There's everything you can think of. And it says, we just really hope you enjoy your trip and your visit. Now, it didn't say anything about being engaged because I didn't ask the question yet, right? Well, another thing about Aspen, Sarah, was that she had always wanted to go on a horse-drawn carriage. Now, if you've been to Aspen again, you know that this street here is a very busy street. The intersection is extremely busy. And so I had planned for a horse-drawn carriage to be out there when we got outside to take us around, and I was going to propose to her on that horse-drawn carriage. When we walked outside, and it was honestly like a Hallmark movie, it started to snow. And I looked right and I looked left, and I'm like, where the heck are all the cars? The St. Regis had blocked off the street on both sides. So the only thing that was in the street was the horse-drawn carriage. I mean, talk about a company that went above and beyond, who did a complete red shoe experience for me, who created a lifelong memory for us both that we will always remember. And not because they had to, not because I paid them to, but because they wanted to. How awesome is that? What experience are you giving to your customers that are similar to the St. Regis? So you guys are in the short-term rental business, but I say you're not. You're in the memory business, okay? No longer do we call ourselves short-term rental business. We're memory business, because vacations equal happiness, and happiness equals memories and experiences. We need to remember that. So I'm going to ask you these two questions, and I want you to think about this because we only got 3 minutes left. I keep looking down to make sure I don't go over. What are you going to do to help create happiness within your short-term rental operation? What are you going to do that's going to make you stand out? The next question, what red shoe experience can you create for your customers that will help you stand out from the rest of the crowd? What are you going to do that's different than the next short-term rental? I know there's something for you to do, and I know you're probably thinking there's a million things you can do. So I'd ask you to stop thinking about it and start doing it. So to me, the answer is simple. The details are what you need to pay attention to. Create the memories in the detail. When I was preparing for this speech, one of the things that got to me when I was doing the research was that 64% of people stress out beyond belief before they get on vacation because they don't know what they're going to eat, where they're going to go, what they're going to see, so on and so forth. How easy would it be for you to simply send them, these are the top best things that there are to do in town. Try this restaurant, I really love it, here. Ask for this waiter here, ask for this bartender here. These are some of our favorite things. How easy would it be for you to create a book inside of your rental that people can put what their favorite experience was while they were there? So when other people are looking through the book, they can see where to go. Now you may have to edit the book, you may have to be careful. Some people may get a little crazy in the book, but you get the idea. So I'm going to finish with this because I know I have a very short amount of time left. If it doesn't bring you joy, love, or purpose, then don't give it your time, energy, or attention. So my name is Chris Hartley. I'm extremely grateful that you were allowing me to speak today. I very much have an attitude of gratitude, and I wish you guys the best several days. And I can't wait to hear from Heidi and Heather to hear what awesome red shoe experiences you guys are doing for your customers. So with that, you're about to hear an amazing man named Damian speak, who's got a way cooler accent than some guy from Kansas. So thank you again, and I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Chris. That was awesome.
That was so good, Chris.
Love it.
Loved it.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, with that, we're going to keep moving, keep the emotional connection, creating memories theme alive, and hand it over to Damian to say more about his background and Book Direct.
Great, thank you very much, guys. Hopefully, I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see my presentation?
We can, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, great, guys. Thank you. 1 second. Well, that was an inspirational talk, Chris. Thank you. You've created a lot of memories for me there. So I hope to be in touch with you again sometime very soon. Hi, everyone. My name is Damian Sheridan. I'm delighted to be here with the guys, Heidi, Heather, and all the team at Astrho. I'm the director of the Book Direct show. On this side, I should actually say as well, Chris talked about his children choosing his teacher. Whilst mine didn't choose mine today, they did create a stain on the bottom of my shirt. So I will openly say that they have an involvement in my day from day to day as well. So yeah, I'm the director of the Book Direct show, which is an event dedicated to direct bookings and how we can generate more direct bookings ourselves and not have to necessarily rely on online travel agents. And I'm also the director of the Book Direct Network, which is a community for like-minded short-term rental property managers who want to learn and be educated and to receive training via videos and articles, all about those many ways we can retain a little bit of control over our own business and generate more direct bookings. So I'm going to talk about Book Direct. A lot of us will have heard of Book Direct. We probably think, yeah, this is something we need to be working towards. This movement that we hear about, hashtag Book Direct. What is Book Direct? What is a direct booking? So a lot of you will have different ideas about this. I have a couple of things here that generally are some of the kind of opinions that I come across. There are bookings that perhaps have come through your website, bookings that you may not have paid for, or bookings that may have not been generated from a listing site or OTA. OTA are online travel agents, and I can name a few. You'll all have heard of Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia/Vrbo, and to a lesser extent, TripAdvisor. For me, the most important part of a direct booking is the level of control, which we're going to come back to, and having full control over a booking when you've received it. So actually less about the OTA and more about the level of control that you have over that booking. And by that, I include things like having complete unrestricted communication with your guests, totally applying your own terms and conditions. And by that, I mean your damage deposits, when you want to receive payment, etc., and cancellations, and not have to abide necessarily by the ones given to you by an OTA, and also being able to take payment yourself. I'm going to share some data here that was given to me by SyncBnB, who are a partner of Astrho and of the Book Direct show as well. And it really goes to show the dominance really that the OTAs and really just a few companies hold over the short-term rental industry. You'll see here how things have slightly changed between 2019 and 2020. But you'll see Airbnb, Booking.com are the biggest drivers of bookings in our market. This was taken over several thousand property managers that SyncBnB deal with. They're vacation rental management software. I should check them out. You'll see that direct bookings are slightly increasing over this time, and significantly more in Europe actually too. So they do have a huge part to play in our industry, as you'll see. Obviously, the direct booking element of that is just to try and reduce that reliance. But I think it's important just to think about where we stand with OTAs. Now, this is a screen grab of one of our talks that we had in London last year at the first Book Direct show. One of our speakers, Steve Kapandi, had an interactive session with all of our attendees and asked them to ping some words over on their phone, live polling about words that they associate with OTAs. Now you'll see here that a lot of them aren't necessarily very complimentary. The bigger ones are the ones that have that were sent more commonly. You'll see, I mean, some expletives there even, but you'll see words like controlling, frustrating. What have we got here? Bad. Necessary evil was one of the biggest ones. So these are important points to think about, that there is a level of negativity that can be applied to OTAs, but surprising to a lot of people, I'm here to tell you different, that they are not the enemy. A lot of you will say, yeah, but what about what happened last year when they overrode a lot of people's cancellation policies and refunded millions of guests worldwide? But we've got to see it in terms of what they provide to us as short-term rental property managers. They are across the world. They have destinations, thousands of cities and destinations worldwide, and you will be hard pressed to find an area of the world that is not covered and that will not get you bookings from one of these OTAs. They have millions of eyeballs, millions of nightly bookings. Airbnb and Booking.com especially have a phenomenal amount of bookings every day, and billions in advertising spend as well. They, I believe Expedia and Booking.com prior to the pandemic spent about $11 billion cumulatively across various marketing channels, but mostly Google ad spend. So they have the money behind them. They will generate traffic for us. Now, they do have some tactics that a lot of short-term rental property managers won't agree with. They may bid on your brand, which isn't necessarily something that we all agree with, but they have the money behind them. So let's let them do this, but let's make them work for us. I think this is an important point. Let's not work towards driving them out of our strategies and our business, but making them as a tool that we want to work for us. So I'm going to share a video with you now. This is one word that all of the speakers, some of the speakers at the Book Direct show last year were applying to the benefits of direct bookings. And hopefully you can hear this okay.
And what's the one word that you would use to describe the value of a direct booking? Or what's the one word that sums up the benefit? Control. I've said it several times, this relationship.
We've got several words, but the one that comes out is control.
Let's just say bulletproof. Bulletproof business.
Data. Data. Always data.
So the first word that jumps to mind is relationship.
I think it's all about the guest experience.
Profitability. Absolutely.
Oh, profitability. Of course.
At the end of the day, it's our foundation of our business. One word.
Yeah. Or it can be high.
Cost efficiency. I'm going to say contact.
Well, the first one that came to mind is invaluable.
Experience, I think, probably for me.
Control. Independence, I would say. Mm-hmm. Independence.
If I can use 3 words, it would be control the experience.
Go on.
So, one word would be experience, 3 words would be control the experience.
Gosh, that's a really good one. Is that 2 words, life-changing?
Freedom.
Assets. Connection. There's another word. I'll use the other word. Connection.
Invaluable. Okay, communication. Communication.
Oh, there's quite a few words you could use. It's precious, I guess. Precious.
Yeah, honestly, the benefit to them is hugely financial.
Benefit is the revenue. For me, the revenue.
More money.
Well, I think we just said it. Personal. Maybe we change that to personable.
Client ownership.
They were just some of the speakers that we had at the Book Direct show last year. And you'll see they were very varied in terms of how they see the benefits of direct bookings. I mean, one of the clear ones to us all is the lack of commission that we would have to pay as a result of getting a direct booking. But really 2 of the words that stand out are, control and independence. And this is something that I firmly believe in as well. Now, there's many ways that we can work towards getting more control and independence of our own bookings. Right in the middle there, you'll see SEO, which is search engine optimization. And this is something that I do from day to day. I'm an SEO consultant with a lot of vacation rental property managers. This is not something that I would advise anyone to get into too quickly, though. It's a very long game. It does require a lot of training and education, and there are many actionable things that we can be doing off the bat just to really push towards some more direct bookings. So I'm going to share a few things with you now that I think those of you watching, and I know most Astrho members have kind of between 1 and 5 properties and not necessarily large scale organizations. So I've just got a couple of things that I'd like to share that we should all consider for just getting started on our Book Direct journey. So number one, our website. Clearly, I think we should all be looking at having our own website. It is the shop window to our business. It lends itself to our credibility as well. And I think without it, it's very difficult for us to really generate direct bookings ourselves. Even if you take them offline or over the phone, people want to know that you're real. They want to know a bit more about you than your listings on OTAs can provide. Guest data and communication. This is something that can scare people off a little bit, but it's really, at its heart, it's quite simple. Collecting our previous guest data, making sure we have that email and name and potentially telephone number as well, and that we can communicate with those guests. I've highlighted MailChimp there because it's probably the most well-renowned software for communicating and for sending out newsletters, but there are dozens out there which are very good and quite often free as well. So let's do this. Let's liaise with our guests. Let's let them know that we're still around. Yes, we've suffered. We've all suffered, but we're still here. We'd love to have them back. And if you want to offer little things like discounts or just update them about what's happening in your local area, then it is really, really vital to do so. And it's really something that's actionable by us all. Google Analytics, I think everyone will have heard of, but I think a lot of people watching here as well probably don't actually look at enough. They may have installed it. This is something that I come across a lot myself anyway. They have installed it or implemented it on their website. However, I have very rarely looked at it since doing so. So do take time out to look at it. Hey, there's almost an infinite amount of data to be found on Google Analytics, but take from it what you will. I think it's important just to know where your milestones are, what you're achieving, where the things that you do from day to day, what is correlating with your results and the data that you're finding in terms of visitors to your site. Content ideas as well. A lot of us, we know we need to be writing on our websites, we need to be publishing new content, but hey, where do we get the ideas from? One site that you'll see a little screen grab of here is Answer the Public, which I always recommend to my clients and anyone I speak to. A really useful website whereby you can get some great information about even just putting in your location into the search bar and finding out what people are searching for on Google and on search engines. Google My Business, again, something you may have heard of, but really important for your brand especially. It's a free service whereby you get verified using usually postcard verification, and it is related to your address. And yeah, it just helps with those guests who are using OTAs as a search facility, but coming off those searches, those OTAs, and actually looking for you on search engines like Google. And done well, you can appear on the knowledge panel on the right-hand side, have your own panel dedicated to your brand, and it's something whereby your potential guests can find you very easily. And the last thing I'd say is make sure you have your Book Direct incentives on your site. Make sure, we all want people to come to our site, right? When we've done that, what are they going to do? What are they going to see? Will they realize that the best rates are to be had when booking direct? Will they see that you can offer them early check-in, free early check-in, late checkout? All of these things, best price guarantee, best customer service. This is something that no one says, but we all offer the best customer service to our guests. The quickest way to get through to us. You don't have to get through to a third-party call center whereby they don't know anything about your property. So make sure they are upfront and center across your homepage and a dedicated page on your site as well to let your guests know what is the incentive of booking direct with you. One stat that I'm just going to finish up with, and I think Heather may have touched upon this earlier on, it's not necessarily to do with direct bookings, but something that really is quite amazing given where we were at a few years ago. And this is a report called the Vacation Rental Barometer, only last month, by a European and American insurance company, which says that 71% of travelers in the US and Europe plan to book a vacation rental in the next 18 months. Now, this is staggering, given that just a few years ago, a tiny proportion of travelers worldwide had stayed at a vacation rental. But this is improving, this is increasing rapidly. And obviously, COVID and the pandemic has led to that. It's been very difficult for us all, but if there is a silver lining to be had, is that more people have experienced a vacation rental through the safety aspect of that. And 3 motivations for choosing vacation rental: comfort, tranquility, and privacy. Probably not a surprise to anyone. But this is a huge optimism that we have for the future. And given whether you call it revenge travel or rebound travel or whatever, the things are looking very bright for the future. I know you guys in the US, you are a bit further down the road in terms of your rollout and how short-term rentals have been booked over the last 3 or 4 months. We're getting a little bit closer now in Europe, but it's a really exciting time to be involved. Heather, sorry, I've got to just very quickly.
You're great.
Final thing, I'd just love to share a couple of details just about the Book Direct show, which is our annual show dedicated to direct booking strategies. We've got tickets starting from free, so please do join us. And we have our Book Direct network, which is our online community, which I spoke about before. Again, this is totally free for anyone. We've got videos, we've got articles. Take from it what you will. We've got collaborators, including Heather, who have shared some amazing detail on there. So I urge you to jump on and yeah, educate yourself about these amazing direct booking strategies. And finally, a little favor I'm going to ask of all attendees today: if you could potentially have a look at our survey that we are currently undertaking, all about direct bookings. We want to drive the biggest ever survey focusing on direct bookings, where the obstacles are, where the opportunities are, and where the trends are for the next couple of years. We think it's a really important point, and we'd love you all to join us. So please, if you have a moment, it takes about 5 minutes, but we'd love for you to jump on. So it's bookdirect.show/survey. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Damian. Yeah, and Astrho members receive a discount, an extra discount to the show. So that is posted in the member community. We'll follow up to help you with that survey, Damian, for sure, to make sure folks have it. And what an awesome way to start this partner showcase, talking about how to create the emotional connection with customers, create these experiences, owning the customer, and doing it via Book Direct. And so from here, we're going to talk about all the other ways you can bring this to life with our other partners. So Chris, thank you so much. Damian, thank you so much. Heidi, any final thoughts from you?
No, just happy to be here. Appreciate you guys both. Really loved your messages, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you. We appreciate you both.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Damian.
And we'll see folks on the next session, Rent Responsibly. See you there.
Bye, guys.